Today's meditation, I want to come back to the root of self inquiry and one of the simplest pointers that we can follow for self inquiry. One of the pointers that self inquiry is rooted in. And it has to do with the biggest misunderstanding, which is I. One of the main teachings of Ramana Maharshi, in a sort of a question format, is think about the billions and billions of people who walk around the world. What are they referring to themselves as? We for each other have all these different names that we call each other by, but what do you refer to yourself as? Always. So are there billions and billions of I with all with their own separate inherent reality and existence? Or is there one I, one reality reflecting in all of the billions and billions of body minds as the sense of being, as the sense of self? So, this whole spiritual process, meditation, inquiry, it is all a contemplation on our existence. It is a contemplation of me, I. And it seeks to resolve the misunderstanding, to dissolve the what the I is taken to be through inattention, through just the conditioned viewpoint, worldview, and to and as you sort of dissolve those misunderstandings and the misconceptions and the identifications, then the self shines as it is. Okay. So, one of the easiest ways, not the only way you can practice self inquiry, but one pointer that will certainly connect with you throughout your sort of meditation journey or whatever. When you are contemplating, right, as who am I? What am I? As what am I aware? As what am I here? This question itself, again, we've already discussed many times that it can't be thought of because the thoughts themselves are appearing and disappearing to an I, to a me that is aware of them. So anything the thoughts say or the thought itself can't really offer us any real answer to this question, who am I or what am I? The question is designed to turn us towards I. Rather than think about the I, rather than feel on behalf of the I, rather than do something, to simply return to simply being the I, free from associations or identifications or assumptions about what the I is. Okay? So the pointer we're going to cover today, that we'll try to stick with, is just simply returning to being the self, being the I. Notice how every sort of thought, every emotion, we're constantly going outward. There's an outwardness. There's this outward tendency. This energy always sort of going outward. When it's allowed to do so, The I becomes the body, right? Everything we think, feel, do is done from and thought and felt from the viewpoint of the I being the body, thinking or feeling or doing on behalf of the world, whatever. This is outwardness. This is the word. This is the perception that becomes possible the moment there's this outwardness. Self inquiry is inwardness, where we don't just let this perception happen because of habit. We simply return to being the self. We stay as the I, free from association with body, mind, person, world. So notice that at the center of your experience, and I don't like to really say center because, then you start to say like, okay, it's here as opposed to there. But just, for the sake of language and speaking, let's say at the heart of your experience, there is a sense of me, a sense of myself. This isn't similar to anything in the realm of experience because everything else is like a thought, sensation, feeling I am aware of. But the sense of I, the sense of me, uh, is not really arising as a feeling or a thought coming and going. So the first step is simply to acknowledge that there is automatically a me here. It's what I sense as myself, being here, being aware. So we start by bringing the attention to that. Bringing the attention to your natural sense of myself, me being here. Don't try to do anything with this. Don't try to make something happen. Don't worry about if you're doing it well or right or wrong. Just do whatever you feel is being asked of you to um, do. At the heart of your experience, there's a sense I. Bring your attention to that sense I. Here you can notice that something is always going outward, you know? You may say, oh, how long to do this? Or where am I getting with this? Again, automatically you are outward because once again, I am aware of those thoughts. Forget what they say, forget the thought themselves. Simply return your attention back to being yourself, to the sense I. Again and again, you notice yourself going outward. Notice how, because through this habit, the the mind needs to constantly associate with something, either an image or a thought or an idea, some memory, some interpretation, some judgment, because it is through this constant association with something, I being attached to something, that this whole sort of projection can continue of being a separate so and so. So it's okay, let it happen. But the moment it does, just return to the I, the sense of being yourself. Even when you do go outward, and let's say you say, I lose myself in thinking, still in that moment, the I is not lost, because again, I am aware of those thoughts. I am aware of those feelings. I am aware of that experience. Even the experience in which you say, I lose myself, there's the self at the heart of that, aware of that experience. The self is never lost. The I is never lost. Simply return to the sense I. Care not for what the I is thinking, feeling, doing. Simply return to the sense I. The willingness to just drop and let go of whatever you are thinking, to return your attention to just the sense of being, sense of I, is something we can refer to as devotion. as self-love. What we call ego is just this momentum of the I associating with objects, I associating with thoughts, feelings, projections, always. This is the momentum, this is the state that we call ego. So this was Ramana Maharshi's teaching, to let the I stand alone, free from associating with anything. And in just this, all these associations and identifications begin to fall off. Rather than living in an illusory concept of what I am and what life is, reality reveals itself. So when we aren't paying attention to our experience, where we just automatically allow this constant association and identification process to keep happening, this momentum to keep running, that is what you can say is devotion to unreality, devotion to appearances, devotion to illusion, devotion to concepts. So while we're devoted to unreality, reality cannot really reveal itself. That cup is full. So this is the little practice of returning to yourself, free from any association. This is devotion to self, devotion to God, devotion to reality. And in this emptying of associations, this emptying of the outward momentum, clarity emerges. So, throughout this entire guidance, you listening, you perhaps thinking about what is being said, you feeling, there is an I at the heart of all of that activity. Care not about the activity itself, simply return your attention to I, me, myself. Even if you say, I can't do this, or I'm having a difficult time with this, even at the heart of that statement, there is a me. There's a sense of me not being able to do something or follow something. Let go of caring so much about the activity of yourself and simply return your attention to yourself. reality, God, truth, they are reflected in the body mind as the sense I. Notice how no experience can damage it, no financial gain or loss can change it. Even the deepest depression cannot take anything away from it. It remains pure throughout your entire life. It is the doorway to reality. It's too obvious. You're not doing this as a person. The moment you return to being yourself, the moment you return the attention to the sense I am, in that moment, you are being that which you are, free from association with anything, name, form, anything. In that moment, the person you take yourself to be is not. Until once again you go outward, that outwardness is upon you, and then you are in the world of name and form, of me and other. Return the attention to the sense I am. When you think, when you feel, when you do, when you act, you do it from the assumed identity of being a somebody. So during your times of practice, in that moment, you are shedding away this assumed persona. You are being yourself. You are slipping away from the projected world, the conceptual world, the realm of personal identity, and you are being yourself as you really are. And this will clear all delusion, all suffering, even the one on behalf of whom there is suffering. And that is the only real transformation. All else is in the realm of the mind, merely changing one projection with another. So, out of all your pursuits in life, this is the most worthwhile. Wake up to its significance. That which is being revealed is more real than any of your experiences. So, this is the pointer that I would ask you to follow today if it resonated with you, if it connected with you. Um, and notice that that is why we often say that this teaching is very simple, because again, it is reducing all of this into just like the bare essence, being yourself. There's a place from where you start. So it's not something you're adding on, creating, or even making happen. You see? Even waking up to this, to the mind's like tendency of outwardness is a big step, because you're making that discovery from a larger vantage point. So the moment that recognition occurs, simply return to the sense I, being aware of being aware. Not being aware of something, but simply being aware of being aware. And I posted this in the group chat the other day. Um, and if you're not part of the group chat, please let me know, in case I didn't accidentally add you. It said, if you remain still without paying attention to this, without paying attention to that, and without paying attention to anything at all, you will, simply through your powerful attention to being, become the reality, the vast I, the unbounded space of consciousness. So you see, that is what self-inquiry is. That is what we just did. That is meditation in the highest sense. Being yourself. If you're currently suffering your experience, if you're having a hard time with meditation, if you're having a hard time with depression, anxiety, being lost in mind, then learn more about my School of Awakening. I will help you dissolve all of those things. I will help you go beyond even the capacity to suffer your experience by helping you awaken to your true formless self, your true position. So if that sounds good to you and something you're interested in, please learn more down below. But I hope today's video was a great help, a great reminder, a great awakener. I will see you next time.